close, must be close. That is brilliant. The carry, it does carry.
Gone. Ran out of patience. Putting his team in full control. You can see he's passionate.
Carlos Brathwaite! Carlos Brathwaite! Remember the name!
Hi, and welcome viewers to another episode of the Midwicket Show right here on Guyal South. My name is Darryl Williams,
And I'm Darren Ramsharita.
and we are here to give you an in-depth and in detail of all things cricket. We eat, sleep, and breathe cricket here.
Local, regional, international, and franchise cricket at its finest. We at the Midwicket Show remind you to adhere to the COVID protocols, wear your mask, sanitize, social distance, and if you can, please get vaccinated, all in an effort to reduce the spread of the COVID-19 virus. As you can see, we here are proudly supported and outfitted by the popular brand that is GT's. We invite you to check out Gonzo on social media to possibly get that curbside pickup as the store is closed. And we
Yes,
get right
indeed,
into the show
indeed.
now.
We thank Gonzo for his continued support. In latest happenings and in news, all things cricket here, we shift aside from white ball to the ultimate test, to the red ball cricket, what we call the ultimate cricket. The pending news is the Test Championship, India versus New Zealand in a neutral ground. What do you think about that, man?
Well, this is the first time this is happening, comparable to a World Cup final, so to speak, in the white ball format. After the round robin competition, well, not round robin, but 2 rounds against each other, some teams didn't get to play each other at all. But we've ended up after 2 years to the 2 best performers, New Zealand and India. Well deserved, I think. The only qualm would be whether it should just be 5 days of cricket or if it should be like a series.
Yeah, one-off test. I think it's similar to the UEFA Champions League where you play 2 legs prior all the way up to the semi-finals. And then on the finals, which my team, Chelsea, is about to play Manchester City at the end of this month. It's a one-off final. So I think that a lot's left to be decided. I think if they're looking for new initiatives, the opportunity might have presented itself to make it a play till finish, a result, or probably something like that sort. But
Right.
that's a lot to be. It's a work in progress as it's something new. But there are picking predicaments of actually putting a final 11 together. Well, let's see how that will go. There's a lot of stories that surrounding your big player captain Virat Kohli, the man himself. He's yet to score 100 in recent history, in the recent past.
Yes, I'm made to understand over the last 12 months, he's not had an international test century. So hopefully you don't want to put this behind him in this.
But in that squad is India's most successful or recent successfully overseas batsman in Ajinkya Rahane, who has had, or I think in my perspective, has been short of cricket. Played probably just 1 game in the recently concluded Vivo IPL. I think that has a lot to do with it. There are some good players that were left out. There was no room for Hardik Pandya, as well as I think that there were some names of some upcoming players. I mean, it's difficult to try them in a test series, test championship, right? But I feel like rubbing the shoulders in a test format would be Ishan Kishan. There are some names that I think Subrakumar Yadav. I think that's class. I mean, I'm not a Mumbai fan, but you give Jack his jacket where he deserves. The bowling lineup, for the bowling aspect of it, there are some cause for concern. There's Sanini, there's Mohammad Suraj, there's Natarajan, there's Ishant Sharma, there's the long lost son, or the prodigal son as I call him, Umesh Yadav. That guy had some good spells for India in the past.
Definitely did. But seeing that you called out those guys, let me give you an 11 that I have put together who I think could possibly play in this final. I will start with Rohit Sharma. He's like the rock on top of the innings there. The number 2 spot Toss-up between Shubman Gill and Mayank Agarwal. Number 3, Cheteshwar Pujara. He's also rocking that number 3 spot there. He cemented the spot. Virat Kohli, the captain, coming at number 4. Hopefully he breaks that poor run of form. Number 5, Ajinkya Rahane, as you would have spoken about. Number 6, Hanuma Vihari. Cementing his spot from since that 2019 debut he would have made. Number 7, Rishabh Pant, the wicketkeeper batsman. I'll come back to him. Number 8, Ravindra Jadeja. And my bowlers, Ishan Sharma and Mohammad Siraj, I'll have as a toss-up Jasprit Bumrah and Mohammad Shami for that experience. Let me come back to my impact player, Rishabh Pant, the X factor. Do you think he has the maturity to come through in such a final?
With that being said, I think that his recently concluded IPL, where he was given the responsibility of captaining Delhi Capitals, who will, quote unquote, we will say is the winners more so, of ending on top after the premature end to the Vivo IPL. And I think that sharing the dressing room and captaining some players like Stephen Smith and having Ricky Ponting there, well, all augurs well for him moving forward. But as we say in local parlance, you never know what you can get from a player like Rishabh Pant. Reversing players, reversing quickies in test match to whatever, you never know. But what we are guaranteed of that he will be a chatterbox behind the stump. That is definitely going to be in those Kiwis' ears, trying to get some reaction out of them. There are some critical points that you made there, considering your team selection or prediction, where it is, I think that can be altered. It's difficult to leave out somebody like Ravichandran Ashwin, who, in quote unquote, in a red ball setup plays as a genuine out and out all rounder.
I see what you mean, but I think he's matched with Ravindra Jadeja. I think Jadeja will get the edge on him. In fact, Jadeja, he brings that element of the batting, the bowling, and that fielding. He's good with those runouts and those sharp catches. He's a 3-in-1 according to our producer, Mikhail Williams, better known as Mickey.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, and there's probably some thought for some food for thought there, as in Hanuman Vihari also gives you that off spinning option. If the going gets tough. There are also some names that I think that I should have been in the mix there. Vijay Shankar. There's also I have always wanted to see Krunal Pandya in the white ball format. Not only a white ball player, but in the red ball format as well. Hardik Pandya has been in and out of the team because of injury and whatnot. But there's a lot of depth. There's a lot of depth in the batting as well as the bowling, because I think they have named 2 uncapped, unknown net bowlers. So yeah, that's your team. So let's hear about that.
Yes, I think so, but I think these players that you're calling in there, I don't think they would take the chance to bring them into a final with that lack of experience going into such an important Test Championship final. They want to stick to the guys that they know could get the job done, the performers over the past recent series. So the guys like Vijay Shankar, and although they are good players and we could probably see it in the IPL and so on, I don't see them just breaking into the final just like that.
So I mean, I feel like the bulk of the batting will definitely be placed on your big trio, as in Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli. But what and who else do you want to think? Rishabh Pant?
I think Rishabh Pant will have an important part in this series. I don't know why, but I think so.
So you don't think there's a space for the ever stalwart and Shikhar Dhawan? What about Cheteshwar Pujara, the Indian Rock, or
yes,
Ajinkya Rahane has been your most successful batsman overseas?
Well, since Rahul Dravid, I think Pujara has put himself as the wall, so to speak, at that number 3 position. And similarly, Rahane, but both of them batting around Virat Kohli, you would see that the partnerships tend to build in that 1 down, 2 down position coming down. So it's all left to play for in this final.
Indeed. But I think that, I mean, as cricket has developed over a period of time with all these analysis and video analysis of what Christian is, I think that we all know that he's susceptible to the short ball. So I guess it's a lot, are we saying local terms, it will be short and rising under the hat. Seeing that you named your Indian 11, as I am having on my black, not so blue, but I will be back in the black caps without a doubt. I am an underdog contender as always. In this series before the Test Championship, New Zealand is scheduled to play England in a 2-off Test series, which will then therefore give them the opportunity to climatize and familiarize with the English conditions a little bit faster or a little more than the Indian team. This English conditions is very testing, as we all know. The New Zealand setup, they have named 4 newcomers, 4 uncapped Test players in their squad, which is somebody that I have highlighted or have paid a close attention to in Rachin Ravindra. He's of East Indian descent. His family originates from the Punjab, Uttar Pradesh capital in India, and he has transgressed to play for New Zealand. He had a very good under-19 World Cup. Devon Conway, which is a white ball specialist, going across the thing. So we have Will Young, who just completed a very good 4-match series with Durham. So there's a lot of depth and new faces from the regular faces of Ross Taylor and Kane Williamson and so on. So I think that this will give them an opportunity to try out these players prior to the actual test. So this will be my squad. Tom Latham, definitely at the top. I will go with Rachin Ravindra as the opening batsman, or Will Young, Kane Williamson at 3, Ross Taylor, Henry Nichols, BJ Watling, Darren Mitchell, Kyle Jameson, Tim Southey, Neil Wagner, or the recall of Doug Bracewell, and Trent Bolt. Man, I tell you, since the awesome foursome of the Windies, this is the last time Starts has proven that a 4-prong attack will be taking up a test match.
That's a really good squad that you named there, and that bowling attack seems to raise the level of excitement a bit, especially in the English conditions, which are known to swing. And also, similarly, in New Zealand, that swing element is also present. So I expect when New Zealand play these 2 tests against England, the preparation, even if they choose to rest some of the key players and give some of the newcomers a chance, by the time that World Test Championship final comes around, they will have the 11 that they are looking for.
As my stats prove here, from since the year 2002 to 2020, there have been an indifferent series where it is that New Zealand has won 3, India has won 4, and 1 series drawn. A lot to play for here. There's a lot of bragging rights to be the inaugural winners of the Test Championship. I think that the air is rare and above there, as we say. A lot is bubbling. The media is, the only thing that I pity, I think that I'm not sure of how the crowd capacity will go. Also, the ever stocky Shorto, as we will say in local parlance, BJ Watling is about to play his final series. He has had remarkable performances to go with his glove work to being a little bit above Adam Purori and Baz McCullum, who are stalwarts in the QE setup behind the stumps.
Correct. And just to quote his stats, he has 3,381 runs at 39.77 with 257 dismissals, quite above Baz McCullum and Adam Purori, as he said. So that's good going for him, and it's probably the right time for him to go.
Most players definitely try to go out on a high, and what it will be amazing for him to go out with a test win. The only thing that's left to be desired, I think that I was not sure of if this game ends in a draw. What will be the outcome? Would it be a shared ICC Test Championship?
Well, that's the only thing that could come to my mind, unless they want to have a shared trophy.
I think that's why I said that they should have allowed that you paid to a result. But that's a topic for another show. But stats is of everything. But as our producer says, cricket is played on the day. And I believe that we are in for a dogfight. Nobody's going to give up to this Test Championship or would love to be the inaugural winners. So what are some key points that you think that we could look forward to? Some head-to-head matchups?
Well, the Kane Williamson and Virat Kohli, that's definitely one of the main matchups, because when you look at the test rankings in terms of the batting, these are two powerhouses that are often looked at.
Indeed, indeed. But I know we will keep a close eye on this test series as it unfolds, as well as New Zealand versus England. A lot of players who have had the opportunity to represent the counties and whatnot. But as we say, we have a lot more in store. We eat, sleep, and breathe cricket here. And I would love for you to continue to watch, and we'll be back right after this break.
It's Barros! Fit is it. Kyle South sat down, discussed with Fit that there is a problem right now. Everyone wants to exercise. The country is on lockdown. We are going to give you an opportunity to exercise. An opportunity to exercise in the comfort of your home. Every morning, Fit will be viewed on Kyle for you to be able to exercise in the comfort of your house. Build your immune system, and that's what Fit is about. Fit is about allowing you to feel incredible today. So come together with Kyle South. Come together with Fit. Look forward Fit. Coming soon. Fit is it. Kyle South. Follow!
The crowd tell energy, they're not getting enough. Instructor, come get them all.
Welcome back to the Midwicket Show, where we give you the latest in the cricket happenings. We were just reviewing the series between New Zealand and England, and heading up into the Test Championship between New Zealand and India. Just to give you the dates, it's on June the 18th to the 22nd at the Rose Bowl in Southampton, which was switched from Lords because of the COVID protocols, where they have an on-site hotel at the ground. So Daryl, from that test cricket, let's head over to the local scene in the West Indies right now, where, of course, we have 3 series lined up at home, a bumper series.
And not just any series, but 3 top teams. It's
Correct,
not going to be an easy.
Right, we have South Africa coming for 2 tests and 5 T20s in St. Lucia and Grenada. Australia would then follow with 5 T20s in St. Lucia and 3 one-days in Barbados. And we end with Pakistan, 5 T20s and 2 tests, with 2 being in Barbados, 3 in Guyana, and the 2 tests being in Jamaica. Bumper right through, and it's culminating just before the CPL.
I mean, indeed, any live cricket is more than valuable right now, but it's such a pity that our cases of COVID cases have been rising so dramatically that we are unable to house or unable to host. I would have loved to see AB de Villiers make his comeback at the Queen's Park over at the Brian Lara Stadium. It would have been ideal. There's a lot of talking points about that. He coming back into the setup because of his old friend and old mate in Mark Boucher being the head coach now. There are some very key points that we think that Australian squad left out Marcus Labuschagne. I think he wants to continue his stint in county cricket. There's some names that I think that should have been there. I see the likes of David Warner, Stephen Smith, Marcus Stonis, and the full gang is coming to the Caribbean. I guess that goes to show the commitment that these players have for their country and representing the yellow and green without hesitating due to COVID restrictions and whatnot. So we will see how well this goes.
Well, remember, this is all building up to the World T20 later this year. So everybody would want to stake a claim to get into that tournament.
Indeed, indeed. I know just coming out of your coming out of the retainer contracts and whatnot, we see here that a 30-man squad was named for the West Indies training camp. I don't think it's specifically stated of being a red ball camp or a white ball camp, because I think there are some shocking names there, we could think, if you want to go through that squad for us.
All right, let's go through it. And of course, I will start with our trainees. We have Darren Bravo, Joshua De Silva, Shannon Gabriel, Anderson Phillips, and Jaden Seals. Let's round up the rest of the squad now. Jermaine Blackwood, Nkrumah Bonner, Shamar Brooks, John Campbell, Ruston Chase, Raheem Cornwall, Kieran Kotoy, Keon Harding, Jamar Hamilton, Kavim Hodge, Chimar Holder, Shay Hope, Kyle Mayers, Obed McCoy, Preston McSween, Makino Minley, Shane Mosley, Paul Palmer, Virasamy Pomol, Kyron Powell, Raymond Reefer, Niall Smith, O'Shane Thomas, Hayden Walsh Jr., and Jomel Warrican. Daryl, I don't know. I think some of these guys were just there to make up numbers if we use plain talk.
I think so. A lot's left to be desired because of again a lot of talking points here. One of the major points is it's difficult for me to comprehend or come to the understanding as in why your head selector is of Guyanese descent and has been treating his own this atrocious. It's been difficult to understand how it is that he continues to do this, because there are some names there that I think that does not warrant or definitely deserve a pick in what we will say. There are some noticeable absences as well. What some key mentions away there, we like to congratulate Ruston Chase and Shamar Brooks for coming back into the setup after being dropped for whatever reason. We last discussed that Ruston Chase was your go-to player, scoring 105 wicket hauls at will,
and he was revived.
There's also some. I'm glad, I'm always an underdog supporter, and I'm glad for the opportunity of seeing new persons represent the Windies. We see Niall Smith, the Guyanese fast bowler. I have actually played against him in the CSL in Trinidad recently. A couple of years ago. There's Kieran Kotoy, who's the Vincentian leg spinning all-rounder, but he has scored a lot of runs. Actually, he have 100 and a couple of 50s in this regional tournament. What our producer was kind of bemused as into why Obi McCord was part of the squad, because he's relatively recognized as a white ball cricketer. Also, we see Shane Mosley making it back into the setup.
He was one that I was referring to making up the numbers, because on that last tour, he certainly was at there with the bowling from the Bangladesh.
But given that, I mean, some people mature differently and take the opportunities. Some people grasp the opportunities quickly. Also, a quick mention here is that there are only 2 wicketkeeper batsmen in this tour, in this camp, which is Joshua De Silva and the Leeward Islands, Jamar Hamilton. Let me know what are some of the noticeable absences that you think, or the names that you think that just generally shouldn't be here.
Well, if we follow West Indies cricket, the 2 names that are quickly on the minds of the fans between Trinidad and Guyana, Imran Khan and Gudakesh Moti, these guys have been performing at the first class level, and they're not being noticed at all for whatever reason. I don't know. They were clamoring for Virasamy Pomol and Het Meyer, who Shimron Het Meyer, he hasn't even been looked at in this 30-man squad. What have you to say about that?
Again, I am not sure. I am uncertain as if it's backroom bacchanal, as we would say, or there's something behind water more than the vessel, because there's a lot to be desired as in why someone of the class he was earmarked to be part and parcel of the West Indies team going forward. As we talk, our local Imran Khan shares the name of the Pakistani great, often referred to as Shaki in the local terms here. This guy has more than 500 first-class wickets. He has a first-class record of 105 games with 423 wickets, a list day career of 51 games with 60 wickets, and a T20 average 37 games, 28 wickets at an average of 21.8, 26.1, and 23.1. And he's no slouch to the bat.
He definitely isn't. I mean, we've all seen Imran Khan live and on television, and he's quite a handful. So I don't understand why it is he's not getting the recognition.
I know he was actually part and parcel of the intra-squad games leading up. We all know him to be a very humble and modest guy. He barely even speaks with players or anything. Gudakesh Moti as well has been overlooked.
He has been overlooked.
There are actually no Leon Johnson in this setup, which I think is Guyana has been ruling the 4-day tournament for in recent past, and I think that it should have been warranted that these guys get a place.
Correct. And even in fact, I heard the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force as ambassador commenting and saying that Imran Khan and Jason Mohammed were supposed to be in this 30-man squad. And I have to share his sentiments there because these are two performers that we know have
Indeed,
been performing over
as his nickname says, Shadow has been a modest guy as well. I think that he has gotten the opportunity to captain West Indies in an ODI format in Bangladesh, where we saw Keon Otley and those guys. Akil Hussain made his debut in Bangladesh. I think that he is generally, or if you want to earmark, he is a very good 4-day or longer format player, and has not been given the right amount of time or opportunity, because I think that he can play a similar role to Raheem Cornwall or Ruston Chase as being your off-spinning all-rounder batsman in the middle order. He can even bat higher than both of those guys mentioned. Those are some points that are I can't come to terms. I can't find the words to discuss.
Well, our producer Michael Williams, he said that he welcomes back O'Shane Thomas because he somewhat lost 25 pounds. He said, "I don't know, but
I mean, we have a lot of depth in our fast bowling repertoire, which is good. I recently saw an article from a very senior reporter, Reds Pereira, stating that he thinks that Shannon Gabriel is not the bowler of, let's say, 2 years ago or 2 series. What do you think?
When I saw him in the tour of Sri Lanka recently, I wasn't so impressed with him. Shannon is a more rhythm bowler. He has to have that rhythm going in order to get his line and length right. And it just wasn't there. But in the tour against England last year, he was very much there. He was pitching up the ball, getting those wickets. But I expect Shannon to, just like anybody else, to have some good performances and some bad performances in between. Reds even went on to say that the West Indies rushed the retainer contracts, that given first-timers contracts who played 4 games, and he thinks that there were people who were more deserving and that they should not have had retainers this year because there was not a first-class competition.
Indeed. But I think that contrary to popular belief here, I think that the board has given the opportunity to state that what about if I give you a contract or I don't give you a contract and you go outside to play cricket? There's a lot of franchise cricket things are happening outside. England, I am glad to see that we have 3 to 4 West Indian players getting the opportunity to play county cricket. So we have to leave space for those guys coming back as well.
Correct.
So
now, when we think about it, Daryl, and we put back, now Jason Holder was rested from this 30-man squad, and we bring back the likes of Kemar Roach, Alzari Joseph, and the test captain, Craig Brathwaite. Now, if you add those 4 players, along with the wicketkeeper Joshua De Silva in there, you're basically looking for about 6 to 7 players to make up your test playing 11. And out of this 30, I hate to say it, but it will be broken down pretty quickly.
Indeed. I mean, but again, this augurs well that you give the opportunity to players who never knows, because if there's a couple of inch of squad games here and somebody bangs a couple hundred, being part and parcel of a 15-man squad is I mean, that's good. You get the opportunity to rub shoulders and try to make a breakthrough. And Bonner has come good. There's a lot of middle. I feel like there's a space in the middle order where it is Kyle Mayers has grabbed his opportunity with both hands. So I think he has basically concrete his spot. So I mean,
these 2 players are comparable in terms of what Shea Hope and Ruston Chase would have given us, along with Darren Bravo. But they really put up their hand and they made a claim for themselves.
Indeed. I mean, Darren Bravo and Shai Hope is probably what you say picturesque. They were the prettiest. You can compare those cover drives to the players of yesterday. But I guess there's a lot to unfold. We are unaware.
One name I wanted to raise with you is the John Campbell and the Karen Powell. Do you think that they have what it takes to return to this opening position?
I'm lost for words again. But I would obviously, John Campbell is not a bad player, but I think that his mental state of mind has changed dramatically, because when he came into regional cricket, he was known as a ball beater. Coming out of West Indies under 19, and he was a hit ball, T-ball person. And I don't know why this had his mentality of getting the opportunity to play Test cricket, of his mindset has changed, because those of you all that he's part of a record-breaking opening stand of almost 300 in ODI cricket. So I am glad to see Kieran Powell straying away from baseball and coming back. He's a class player. He has had his good times and up, but again, experience. So I do not mind him coming back in the team, because we are desperately in need of a opening batsman to the top of the order. There's no Adrian Barrett.
All right, so it's been a long time since West Indies have played South Africa in a test series, 2015 January to be exact. So 6 years onwards, we're going to face the South Africans. And some quick thoughts on the series. You think we'll get the edge on them?
I think that South Africa, especially in the test format under new captain is in Themba Bavuma, I think that they are going through a transition process as well. So this is probably a good time to capitalize on that. If we hit the ground running faster than them, I think we can have the edge on them.
That's good. And well, we start with 2 tests and then we head into the T20s. We'll await further word on that squad when it becomes available. So then, Daryl, any closing remarks you want to give?
I want to say it has been a pleasure. I want to thank our viewers for viewing us on Guile South. We continue to wish you to adhere to COVID protocols, do your part of lowering the curve, and we ask you to stay safe and adhere to COVID protocols and be back and make sure to join us the next time on the Midwicket Show. Don't be caught out.
Don't be caught out. Remember to check out the Midwicket Show on Instagram, the Midwicket Show 868. Don't miss us on the next episode.